The great lion has finally exploded. In a move that has left the palace walls vibrating, the king has blown fire on the heads of his elders. These powerful kingmakers try to give the great lion an ultimatum. Do not bring Iyanifa back to the palace. They claim she will scatter the traditions because of one pretty face, but the king has uncovered a level of betrayal that will leave you speechless. One of the very men trying to block Iyanifa is a man she literally brought back from the gates of death. Welcome to Crown Gist. If you want the real, raw and unfiltered truth from the heart of the palace, you are in the right place. But wait, if you never subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? You are missing the deepest secrets of the kingdom. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of this fire as it drops back to back. The atmosphere in the palace today is not just hot, it is explosive. My Crown Gist friends and families, I need you to sit down for this one because the great lion has finally done what many thought he would never do. He has turned his back on the very men who put the crown on his head. For a long time, we've been asking, why is the king so quiet? Why is he allowing the elders to dictate his life? Well, the lion has finally roared, and he didn't just roar, he blew fire directly onto the heads of the council. It all started when a group of the most powerful elders gathered themselves and marched into the king's inner chambers. They didn't come to pay homage, they came with a warning that felt more like a threat. They told the great lion that he must cancel all plans to bring the spiritualist Iyanifa back to Nigeria. They had the audacity to tell the king that he was being blinded by one pretty face, referring to the jewel, and that his obsession with her stability was about to scatter the ancient traditions of the palace. They told him that Iyanifa is a troublemaker and that her presence would bring nothing but chaos. But the great lion was ready for them. He didn't just sit there, he stood up, his eyes red with a fury that hasn't been seen in years. He looked at these men who consider themselves untouchable kingmakers, and he shouted, "Who the hell do you think you are to tell me what to do in my own palace? Who do you think you are warning?" The king's voice was so loud he could be heard at the palace gates. He asked them if Iyanifa had ever harmed a single soul in the kingdom. He reminded them that whenever the palace was in a mess caused by their own politics, it was Iyanifa who came to rearrange everything and bring peace. My Crown Gist friends and families, the king called them out for what they truly are. He said, "It is only the evil ones who are afraid of the light. It is only those of you with dark secrets who would not want Iyanifa to step foot here." He ordered them to get out. He didn't say please, he barked at them to get out. I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Can you imagine the shock? These are men who are used to the king bowing to their traditional guidance. But today, the lion showed them that he still has his claws. But there is a reason why this struggle is so intense, and we have to look at the traditional constitution of the land. A lot of you have been asking why the king doesn't just chase Ebony away with 1 degree. My Crown Gist friends and families, it is not that simple. The great lion is guided by ancient rules. He cannot make major decisions without the harmony of the elders. This is the loophole Ebony has been using for years. She's gallant on the ground because she has the elders in her pockets. When one group of elders gets tired of her, she runs to the next group, promising them influence if they protect her. It's a game of music and chairs, and Ebony is the one playing the music. My Crown Gist friends and families, the king called them out for what they truly are. He said, "It is only the evil ones who are afraid of the light. It is only those of you with dark secrets who would not want Iyanifa to step foot here." He ordered them to get out. He didn't say please, he barked at them to get out. I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Can you imagine the shock? These are men who are used to the king bowing to their traditional guidance. But today, the lion showed them that he still has his claws. But there's a reason why this struggle is so intense, and we have to look at the traditional constitution of the land. A lot of you have been asking why the king doesn't just chase Ebony away with 1 degree.
My crown gist friends and families, it is not that simple. The great lion is guided by ancient rules. It cannot make major decisions without the harmony of the elders. This is the loophole Ebony have been using for years. She is gallant on the ground because she has the elders in her pocket. When one group of elders gets tired of her, she runs to the next group, promising them influence if they protect her. It's a game of musical chairs, and Ebony is the one playing the music. My crown gist friends and families, the king has realized that the elders' fear of Iyanifa is not about tradition at all. It's about the Itu ritual. They know that if Iyanifa arrives, she will perform a ritual that is so pure and so powerful that it will automatically unseat anyone who's present in the palace is not spiritually aligned. In simple English, my candies, friends and families, Iyanifa is the sanitizer that will wash Ebony out of the palace once and for all. This is why the elders are fighting like wounded animals. They are not protecting the palace, they are protecting Ebony, and by extension, their own stomach infrastructure. The intensity reached a peak when the king pointed his finger at one particular elder, the one who was shouting the loudest against Iyanifa. The king looked him in the eye and reminded him of a secret that the man had tried to bury. A few years ago, before the full moon ritual, this same man was on his deathbed. His body was swelling up with water, a sickness that the Yoruba people call Ode Iraye. He went to the best hospitals in Nigeria, including LUTH, but the doctors were confused. They said his liver was fine, his kidneys were perfect, but the man was getting weaker and weaker. He couldn't walk, he couldn't eat. His family had already started preparing for his funeral. It was Iyanifa who looked at him and saw the truth. She told him, this is not a hospital matter. This is a demonic affliction because of a land dispute you are involved in. While she was busy with the king's ritual, she was also fighting to keep this ungrateful elder alive. She went into the deep forest and told him, pray that I find a specific leaf. If I find it, you will live. If I don't, then God help you. Iyanifa found that leaf. She squeezed the juice into his eyes, his ears, and his mouth. She rubbed his swollen body with the remains. Within days, the water vanished and the man stood up and walked. My crown gist friend and families, can you believe the wickedness of the human heart? The same man who owes his very life to Iyanifa is now the one leading the charge against Iyanifa. The king was disgusted. He told the man, when others are talking, you should be the one singing Iyanifa's praises, but here you are plotting against your savior. The king realized that these men are not just traditionalists, they are hardened evil people who are terrified because Iyanifa doesn't play with darkness. She bulldozes through their charms and their politics, and that is why they want her gone. But the king has made his decree. Iyanifa is coming, and any elder who stands in the way will be crushed.
The energy in the palace has shifted from a mere disagreement to a full-blown spiritual war. And my crown gist friends and families, you need to understand that the stakes have never been this high. After the great lion chased the elders out of his presence, the palace went into a state of cold war. The king's roar had silenced them for a moment, but behind the scenes, these elders, these kingmakers were not folding their arms. They went back to their secret meeting places to plot, but the great lion was already 10 steps ahead of them. He realized that the only way to save his throne and his peace with the jewel was to expose the deep-seated hypocrisy of the men who claimed to be his guardians. The king's anger was specifically fueled by the memory of how Iyanifa had saved that ungrateful elder from the demonic water sickness. He couldn't wrap his head around how a man who was once a walking corpse, saved only by Iyanifa's forest medicine, could now stand up and say she is a threat to the palace. But this is the reality of the politics Iyanifa was talking about. These elders are not thinking about the health of the kingdom, they are thinking about their control over the great lion. They know that as long as Ebony is in the palace, there is a constant friction, a constant war that allows them to remain relevant as mediators. If Iyanifa comes and performs the forest ritual, that friction disappears. Peace returns, and in a house of peace, the troubleshooting elders have no work to do.
My crown guest friends and families, we are hearing that Ebony is the one fueling this fire. She is the one whispering to these elders, reminding them of the benefits they receive by keeping her in the palace. She has gathered gallant for ground, meaning she has built a fortress of loyalty among these men. They are protecting tradition. They are protecting their investments in Ebony. The great lion knows this now. He sees that every time he tries to make a move for the jewel's stability, a new group of elders pops up to warn him. It is a cycle of manipulation that has been going on for years, and the king is finally ready to break the chain. The king's decree that Iyanifa is coming has sent a wave of kitikata through the camp of the elders. They are running helter-skelter because they know Iyanifa's track record. She is the bulldozer. When she arrives, she doesn't just do fine rituals, she goes into the roots of the matter. She is the one who told the sick elder exactly where he stepped on the demonic stuff on that disputed land. She sees the things they try to hide in the dark. The elders are terrified that when Iyanifa performs the forest ritual, she will not only stabilize the jewel, but also smoke out every evil plan they have been cooking in their secret meetings. The intensity of the situation is also tied to the Itu ritual we mentioned earlier. The elders are saying that Iyanifa should not come because of Itu, not just because of the forest ritual. Why? Because the Itu is a ritual of separation. It is a spiritual process that identifies who belongs in the palace and who is a stranger causing chaos. They know that if Iyanifa handles the Itu, Ebony will not have a single leg to stand on. The traditional constitution they keep quoting will no longer be able to protect her because the spiritual law will override the political one. My crown guest friends and families, we are hearing that Ebony is the one fueling this fire. She is the one whispering to these elders, reminding them of the benefits they receive by keeping her in the palace. She has gathered gallant for ground, meaning she has built a fortress of loyalty among these men. They aren't protecting tradition, they are protecting their investment in Ebony. The great lion knows this now. He sees that every time he tries to make a move for the jewel stability, a new group of elders pops up to warn him. It's a cycle of manipulation that has been going on for years, and the king is finally ready to break the chain. The king's decree that Iyanifa is coming has sent a wave of kitikata through the camp of the elders. They are running helter-skelter because they know Iyanifa's track record. She is the bulldozer. When she arrives, she doesn't just do fine rituals, she goes into the root of the matter. She is the one who told the sick elder exactly where he stepped on the demonic stuff on that disputed land. She sees the things they try to hide in the dark. The elders are terrified that when Iyanifa performs the forest ritual, she will not only stabilize the jewel, but also smoke out every evil plan they have been cooking in their secret meetings. The intensity of the situation is also tied to the Itu ritual we mentioned earlier. The elders are saying that Iyanifa should not come because of Itu, not just because of the forest ritual. Why? Because the Itu is a ritual of separation. It is a spiritual process that identifies who belongs in a palace and who is a stranger causing chaos. They know that if Iyanifa handles the Itu, Ebony will not have a single leg to stand on. The traditional constitution they keep quoting will no longer be able to protect her because the spiritual law will override the political one. The king has told them plainly, you don't want Iyanifa because you are all evil. He didn't mince words. He told them that their resistance is the proof of their darkness. He reminded the council that when the palace was in shambles and the traditions were being mocked, it was this same Iyanifa who came and rearranged everything that they had collectively destroyed. My crown guest friends and families, we are hearing that the king is no longer the patient lion they used to know. He is now the aggressive lion, and he is ready to go to any length to ensure that the truth prevails. But don't think the elders are giving up easily. They are now trying to use the August date that Iyanifa gave as a weapon. They are telling the king that if he forces Iyanifa to come earlier, he is breaking the spiritual timing of the land. They are trying to use very things she respects, tradition and timing, against her. But the king is not listening. He has seen the jewel's tears. He has felt the weight of the war in his home, and he has witnessed the betrayal of the man Iyanifa saved from death. The lion has made his choice. The pretty face of the jewel is not what is scattering the palace. It is the ugly hearts of the elders that are the problem.
As the sun sets over the palace, the Cold War has turned into a midnight fire that no one can quench. The elders, disgraced and chased out by the great lion, did not go home to sleep, no. They gathered in a dark, secret location to discuss how to tame the lion they once thought was in their pocket. They are whispering that the king has been bewitched by the jewel's beauty, and they are using this narrative to try and turn the public against him. But what they don't know is that crown gist is everywhere, and we see the black and red games they are playing. The intensity of the betrayal from the elder that Iyanifa saved is what is really biting the king's soul. Imagine, this man was literally a walking corpse. Water was leaking from his body, his skin was stretching to the point of tearing, and he was smelling of death. The doctors had failed him. His fellow elders had already started eyeing his properties and his position. It was only Iyanifa, the woman they now call a troublemaker, who stood in the gap for him. She didn't ask for his land or his money. She only asked the gods to show her the leaf that would save a dying man. And now that same man is sitting in a dark room, plotting how to stop Iyanifa from returning to Nigeria. My crown gist friends and families, if this is not the height of human wickedness, I don't know what is. The great lion has realized that the traditional constitution these men keep shouting about is actually a weapon they use to keep the palace in a state of confusion. They want the king to be in harmony with them, but their version of harmony is for the king to be a yes man while they and Ebony run the show. The king has finally seen that as long as he tries to please these elders, the jewel will never have peace. Her stability is being traded for palace politics, but the lion has stopped trading. He has decided that if the palace must scatter for the truth to stand, then let it scatter. The Itu ritual that Iyanifa is coming to perform is the biggest threat to the status quo. You see, in the ancient ways, the Itu is like a spiritual lie detector test for the entire royal household. When that ritual is done, anyone who has been using juju or dark politics to maintain their seat in the palace will be exposed by the gods. The elders are terrified. They know that Iyanifa cannot be bribed. You cannot give her a plot of land or a suitcase of money to change her spiritual report. She is direct and unfiltered, just like your favorite crown gist. That is why they are fighting her tooth and nail. Ebony, on her part, is not sitting idle. We are hearing that she has been seen visiting the homes of these powerful kingmakers under the cover of night. She is reminding them that if Iyanifa rearranges the palace, their own power will be cut off. She is playing on their greed and their fear. She has convinced them that the forest ritual is just a cover-up for a plan to replace all the old elders with new younger ones who support the jewel. It's a masterclass in manipulation, but the great lion isn't buying it anymore. He told them, Iyanifa has never harmed anyone, but you people, you harm the palace every day with your lies. The drama reached a fever pitch when the king revealed that before the full moon ritual, Iyanifa had warned him that some of the items the elders brought were spiritually poisoned. They didn't just bring unnecessary items, they brought things designed to fail. They wanted the ritual to fail so they could blame Iyanifa and the jewel. But Iyanifa's power was too much for them. She bulldozed through their traps and made the ritual successful. Now she is coming to finish the job with the forest ritual, and the elders know that this time there will be no mistakes for them to hide behind. The great lion is now standing alone against a sea of elders, but he is standing tall. He is telling them that his authority comes from the gods, not from their approval. He is ready to bring Iyanifa back, even if he has to send a private jet to fetch her tomorrow. The August date is just a number. The king is pushing for now. He knows that the jewel's mental and spiritual health is on the line. Every day Ebony remains gallant on the ground is another day of torment for the woman he loves. My crown gist friends and families, we are watching a king transition from a politician to a real lion. The battle for the forest is about to begin, and it's going to be a winner-takes-all situation. The atmosphere in the palace is currently like a keg of gunpowder waiting for a match. The great lion has made it clear the politics of the elders is officially over. He has realized that the more he tries to play by their traditional constitution, the more they use it to suffocate his life and the life of the jewel. The king is no longer asking for their permission, he is giving them orders. The most intense part of this final standoff is the panic in Ebony's camp.
We are hearing that ever since the king shouted those words, "Get out, I don't want to listen to your nonsense," the gallant ground Ebony was standing on has started to crack. She knows that the elders are her only hope. If the king successfully sidelines the elders and brings Iyanifa back on a private mission, Ebony's spiritual and political cover is gone. She's reportedly terrified of the Ichu ritual because Iyanifa is known as the bulldozer for a reason. When Iyanifa enters that forest, she isn't just looking for leaves and roots, she's looking for the darkness that has refused to let the palace breathe. The great lion's decision to stand by Iyanifa is a total betrayal to the elders, but to the king it is a matter of survival. He pointed his finger at the man he saved and told him, "The same water that almost drowned you is what will drown your influence if you don't stop this evil." The king has uncovered that the reason these men see blue and call it green is because they have been promised a share of the palace wealth if they keep Ebony in power. It's no longer about tradition, my crown gives friends and families. It is about stomach infrastructure. But the lion is saying, "Not on my watch." The forest ritual is now more than just a ceremony. It is a declaration of independence for the great lion and the jewel. The king knows that if he can get Iyanifa to Nigeria before August, the stability of the jewel will be sealed. The world is waiting for them in Brazil, but the king knows he cannot take a troubled house to a global stage. He wants to go there as a man who has conquered his internal enemies. He wants to show the world that the jewel is not just a pretty face, but the true spiritually ordained queen of his heart. As we speak, the elders are still trying to hold emergency meetings to stop Iyanifa's visa or block her flight, but the king has taken over the palace security. He is not letting anyone in or out without his direct approval. He has become a dictator for peace. He told them that since they want to act like evil ones, he would treat them like enemies of the state. The kitty-kata movement of the elders is now a desperate crawl. They know that once Iyanifa lands, the game is over. The suspense is biting. Would the elders try to use the traditional constitution to stage a final revolt? Or will the great lion's roar be enough to keep them in their houses while Iyanifa performs the ritual that will change everything? My crown gives friends and families, we are watching history in the making. The war of the jewel is reaching its final chapter in the forest, and only one woman will come out standing. The lion has chosen his queen and he's ready to burn down the politics of the elders to keep her. Please keep in mind, my crown gives friends and families, that all this information is based on alleged rumors and unverified gist making the rounds on social media. None of this has been officially confirmed by the palace yet, so do not take it as a fact. It is strictly social media talk for now.